Inside the Birds is back. Hello, everybody. Geoff, Mosher, Adam Caplan. Middle of the week, you know what we do. We sift through the carnage. You know, it wasn't always like that. It used to be, the last few years. I know there were some rough times, but I don't remember using the term sift through the carnage as much as I've had to do this year with you, Adam, as we talk about the Eagles and their 22-17 loss to – wait, did I have that score right? 22-17. Yep. Yeah, 22-17 loss to the Browns in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It is. And I got to tell you, I'm excited for this episode only because, I do a fair amount of tape watch as I can. I really took a deep dive into third down going through the tape and what's been going on because that's really where the Eagles have struggled mostly the last 2 weeks. 0 for 9 against the Giants and I think 2 for 10 against the Browns, and one of those two was a run, so it wasn't even a passing converted third down.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of notes, and I got a lot of feelings on what's going on there. So we'll get into that.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. So for people listening, we will have our normal pregame show on Monday. It'll start at 5 p.m. We'll be at Goose Island, and we've got a great show lined up. So look forward to doing that. You can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter on the Inside the Birds platforms. And I hope people have checked out Tales from the Blind Side. This one was a really good one. A lot of conversation. I feel like in this last one, Adam, I don't know if you've heard it yet, but Jamal and Todd and Trey Thomas, they didn't get as XC and OE as they normally do, and they just kind of gave you from a former player's perspective of what's the feeling like when you've hit rock bottom, when you're searching for answers, because there were times – during all those three guys' careers, there are times, not many, that Andy had some really rough moments there.
Todd was here. Todd lived it. Todd lived it. Trey saw the good and not so good. Mostly good. Trey was gone before Andy's situation ended. But and Jamal, it's amazing. They all are similar in age. Trey came in obviously earlier. They've been through a lot in their career. The O-linemen are the smartest guys in the room anyway. Sorry, quarterbacks. But
no, it's true.
It is what it is.
They were all on the 2006 team that, obviously 2005 was a disaster because of all the injuries. I think Trey was hurt that year. So he lived through it, but he wasn't really playing through it. Jamal had not yet been the starting center, I don't think, in 2005. And then Todd also, that was his rookie year. So Todd got a lot of playing time in the disaster of 2005. So that was actually a bonus for him while it was a negative for Trey and everybody else. But 2006, they all lived through Donovan getting hurt and Jeff Garcia taking over. But more appropriately, they lived through Andy Reid surrendering play calling to Marty Morningweg and Donovan being in a funk even before he got hurt. So they had a lot of really interesting things to say. And I'm sure that there will be an even better show on our platform when Trey and D-Gun drop Grilling the Birds, which comes out Thursday morning.
Awesome.
So a lot of good stuff on the Inside the Birds platform. Let's before we dive into the game, talk about some of the transactions that have gone on. Yeah. Not too many, but the big one is that activated into the 21-day window for the Eagles off the injury is Genard Avery.
Right. He had the the UCL sprain elbow. Mm-hmm. So that's good. Unfortunately, LeBlanc has a bad ankle sprain, so Crayvon LeBlanc got put on IR. So the thing with Avery is this. Do they need him? Because they got to get Curry back. Curry's on the COVID list, so we'll see what happens there.
Close contact, by the way. So
okay.
Well, that's the last I heard. I don't know if anything had changed, but yeah.
Okay, so we'll see if he could be activated this week. But Genard Avery is different from anybody they have. Mm-hmm. So if he could help them, we saw what he did against the Niners. He was incredible. Okay, incredible. A couple of teams told me they were blown away. They'd actually called the Eagles about Avery, but they just clearly didn't want to. They weren't offering anything, but they just want to see where they were at with him. This kid, now I get it that some teams thought he's too short and all that, but you can't find guys this explosive out there. So he could help them, and they don't have anyone like this. He certainly could help them once he's ready to go. Jordan Howard, it's now official on Tuesday, or excuse me, on Monday, because he had to wait through the COVID protocol. He to be official, it had to wait to 6 days, so they did that. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. It's kind of funny. They protected Howard as one of their 4 protections. McGill, Osman, and Caleb Wilson. Those three guys, McGill, Osman, and Wilson, they reverted back to the practice squad on Monday, but it's just kind of funny. He signs there, and then they protect him.
It is interesting how they do that. By the way, you mentioned it. Yeah, Killins was here one day, gone again.
Oh, yeah,
and
gone again.
You know, that's the same deal with him. All right, so McGill, Joe Osman, who, man, still thinking about that stiff arm.
Just the one play, though. I mean,
I know, but that's like when you finally get on the field, you don't want to be on the wrong side.
You don't want to be the meme.
Yeah,
yes.
meme. Exactly.
I've seen some of them. I get it. It's, it is what it is, man. It's just like getting posterized when you get dunked on.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, they just got to, I guess, wake up the next day and go back to work.
Exactly.
Anything from the press conferences that stand out to you? And for those who
living
in a cave.
I'm glad I didn't put it in the rundown, Geoff, but I do want to talk about one thing that bothers me. Well, it's not that it bothers me, because I've talked. It's funny. I'll talk when I call teams. It's not just about the Eagles. I cover 32 teams, so I want to know, hey, how's this guy doing? How's your rookie class doing? I go, hey, well, by the way, I don't know how close you follow Philly, because I don't always call teams about Philly. I call them about other things. Mm-hmm. So, hey, if you followed Philly and how Wentz is doing and so forth? And one guy said to me, what the hell's the head coach talking about with in his press conference Monday? I'm like, oh, you saw that? You saw the quotes? Because yeah, so it might have been on Pro Football Talk, whatever. So guys in the league know. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I got to hear what you think about this, because you and I talked about it on our Monday show, kind of where Wentz is in his struggles and whether he should bench him or not. I still believe that benching him for a game is not, and I know that I'm sure the front office doesn't want it. They want the quarterback in there. Wentz, it's not just because of the money. It's because he's a better option. But because they're still, even if they're going to be out of first place after Thursday, someone's going to not tie in that game, the Washington Dallas game. And the Eagles won't be in first place anymore after Thursday. But it's not like they're going to be out of it. I would give Wentz a game off just to get those so-called clear eyes, as Pederson's talked about. He doesn't want to do it. He thinks like they're giving up on the season. Am I wrong on this? I don't say it like that.
I guess what confuses me, Adam, is that I feel like Doug has a chance. If Doug's rationale is that, and he said it, right? He said it's not all on the quarterback. In this city, it's about the head coach and the quarterback, but there's a lot of other things going wrong. Well, I believe Doug has an opportunity to correct some of those other things going wrong. And one of them is your offensive line, right? And we'll get into it more, but I was astonished by how badly Jason Peters played in this game, especially without having to contend with Myles Garrett. And I was astonished that he said that Sua Opeta deserved playing time over Nate Herbig all of a sudden, because Nate Herbig was not on the injury report last week. There's something fishy there. So
but again, you say that it's got to be he relies on Stoutland. In that building, he's like Methuselah. But
that's fine. But he's the head coach, and so if you want to, you're a quarterback.
Sure.
Right. If you're going to make the argument that other things are going wrong and we need those things to change before our quarterback can be better, well, then you got to change those things. And you said this, and I was reluctant to agree, but I've kind of hopped on board, that there's just no reason to play Jason Peters anymore. And by the way, I was originally on the never bring Jason Peters.
I know. You're the one who got me started on it now.
So I've been on this roller coaster. Once he was back, I said, well, you got to play him at the position.
You thought, correct me if I'm wrong, you thought for a couple games there, he showed he could still play.
Yes.
But I mean, and I'm not going to accuse him of checking out. Some people are in social media. I don't know that. I mean, people are just running with stuff.
Right.
Pederson said on, I guess, Monday that he got hurt. Okay. And we'll see what the injury report looks like later today. But the fact of the matter is, Geoff, they can't rely on him. He's 38 years old. You have a kid who they absolutely love in Mailata, who he's so far ahead of where they probably thought he would be right now. He's not perfect. Yeah, he needs to get used to the hand usage that Stoutland teaches him, but he's a monster. He's healthy. Live with it, man. Live with it. Just go with him.
I think it makes you better. It's not just about learning.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Pederson that it's his call along with Stoutland. How in the world could you not think that he's a better choice right now than Peters?
And that's exactly it. It's not just about learning anymore. It's not just about watching Mailata grow. It really might be about the fact that Jordan Mailata, he's going to give up a penetration here and there. He's going to have a rocky moment, but man, I don't think even when he was not playing his best as it went on, he was as bad as Jason Peters was against the Browns. I mean, Jason just straight.
Peters is worse. The way I heard it, Geoff,
yeah.
I heard he hadn't played like this in a long time. He looked old, played old. I just think at this point, I understand coaches are trying to save their jobs or whatever, or they want to win. They want to make sure they're back next year. Okay, fine. Whatever the reason is that they won't play Mailata over Peters. Now, this week they may not have a choice because who the heck knows what's going on with Peters, whatever injury he suffered. But why can't you just say, you know what, we're going to play the young guy and we're going to live with it? Why not?
I don't know. And that's where I see the hypocrisy in Doug Pederson basically saying that it's not just the quarterback and head coach. Other things are going wrong. You have an opportunity to at least correct some of those other things that are going wrong to give yourself and your quarterback a better chance to execute and succeed, and they're not doing it. So that's where I am on that with Doug Pederson's press conference. Jim Schwartz, nothing really stood out other than, you people were trying to get a good quote about Alex Singleton out, and he did praise Alex Singleton, who had a very, very, very good game.
Really well. Played
but
really well.
It was funny how he tried to also temper. He said, I think he borrowed the Bill Parcells adage where let's not put the guy in Canton. Just
what it actually is the correct line is that when I heard it live, I'm like, it's the anointing oil. Let's not give him the anointing oil right now. I remember it when Parcells said it when he was in Dallas. I would watch his press conferences. They were so entertaining. Todd Archer and all the guys who would cover, Mike Fisher sitting in the front row, would make me laugh. I miss those days of Parcells doing it. But
who was he referring to? Is it Romo?
I wonder. Someone who was playing really well, obviously, but I just don't remember. It's a good question. Could have been Romo. I don't know. But I get it. I get it because you know what? And Schwartz is right though. We don't have access to the way the linebacker system flow to the football. We don't know for a fact, though it looks good on tape, and people I talked to graded the tape said he played very well. It was his best game as an Eagle. Look, we told if you're new to our show, we told you before the season started that Singleton was their best linebacker. Flajole's married to Nate Gary. I mean, he's like his own son. I mean, when I say married to, he feels like he's got to play him because he thinks the kid's smart. How about performance? How about that? This guy's a better football. It's not even debatable. Singleton's way better than Gary.
Well, and look, I believe I put this out there when we went into the season after the 53. Alex Singleton was not a lock to make this 53.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some back and forth and discussion.
Whoever your source was,
right.
whoever, I'm not going to ask you who it was, but what the heck did they say? I mean, I'd heard he was really good.
Look, the point is that the Eagles traditionally either keep 5 or 6 linebackers. As you mentioned, they play a lot of nickel and dime. They already had Nate Gary. They already had Duke Riley, and they already had TJ Edwards, and they drafted 2 linebackers in Davion Taylor, who's definitely making the team as a 3rd-round pick. And Sean Bradley had a nice training camp, right? So that's 5 right there. So there was some real discussion about whether to go lighter at linebacker when they had so many injuries, right? And you have to go heavier at another area and just go with 5 linebackers. And there was discussion about whether Alex Singleton should make it or not.
Wow.
And without putting blame on anybody or anything like that, I mean, you do know that, management likes to see the guys, the rookie, the younger players, not that Alex Singleton is old, but you like to see your 3rd and 6th round pick, was it 6th or 7th that Sean Bradley was, get on the field. Yeah, 6th round pick and make the team. So
Singleton, I asked a CFL source about him, liked him. He said he said in the NFL he's definitely a backup. Now again, it's all relative. This is who they have, so he's their best linebacker. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. When Gary comes back, if he plays over Singleton, I'm done. I'm literally going to walk away. I'm done. You got to play your best players. I'm sick and tired of this. Goes on, and it's funny when I'm not talking about the Eagles here. When I talk about this, when talking to different front offices, when the front office, sometimes they just want the best players in the field. Sometimes they want the rookies on there, and the coaches are coaching for their job, so they won't do it. You got to play the guys who perform. Got to be on the field, man. It's got to happen.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you. All right, so we'll move on from that. We'll get into the X's and O's. We'll take out the scalpel and the forceps and dig deep into this beauty in a second. But first, we're going to tell you about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. They are covering all 4 Philly teams like nobody else, the Phillies, the Flyers, Sixers, Eagles and the Union. So make that 5, enhancing the fan experience with their great content, good podcasts as well. Check them out at phlsportsnation.com. You can find them on Twitter at phlsportsnation. And we'll pause real quick here, as we always do, for a word from our great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. All right, let's start as we always do, Adam. We'll go with the offense. We'll start with the quarterback, the passing game. It was obviously ugly again. And so what I did was this, before you kind of give me your source breakdown.
Sure.
I want to kind of see if it matches up.
Okay.
So today I went through every third down pass, right? And there were about 8 or 9 of them. And I did a hierarchy. Did it not work because of Wentz, meaning decision-making or hesitation? Did it not work because protection was off? Or did it not work because I thought the route concepts were almost unwinnable, right? And after I was done charting each and every play and figuring out where the breakdown was, not surprisingly, I found that 3 of them were on Wentz mostly. I mean, some cases it's close. Some cases it's pretty obviously one or the other. But 3 mostly on Wentz, 4 mostly on protection breakdowns, and 2 I really had questions on the play design, whether it could have worked against the defense that they were showing. Now, by the way, I really like what the Browns did. I think that they mixed and disguised their packages really well. They played a lot of man and zone or man within zone. And I think that their philosophy, Adam, was Carson Wentz is really confused right now, and why don't we just make it even more harder for him to figure out what we're doing? They did not play a straight normal defense. A lot of times they would put guys up in the line of scrimmage and back them up. They did zone blitzing. I mean, I was really impressed with how the Browns, knowing that they're not great, at least tried to mix up what they do and show different looks to Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and they had to do that because without Garrett, the best defensive player this year, I mean, he's right now would be the defensive MVP, maybe Aaron Donald second. But that's the belief around the league that this guy is an absolute homewrecker. He's been incredible. You know, it's a funny thing about Myles Garrett is, I remember when he was entering the draft the year that it came out, it was like, okay, is he going to have that high motor? That was the criticism because the tape sometimes showed him that he didn't always bring it. He brings it here at this level. And not having him, you did question coming into the game, and I know the Eagles' offensive line has been a disaster this season, mostly due to injury and age, obviously. You wondered about what could Claiborne and Vernon bring. And then the kid Porter Gustin is a try-hard guy. Talking to the Browns about him. He's kind of a lunch pail, undrafted free agent. Great find for them last year.
Right.
But look, the fact of the matter is, I mean, Wentz got hit 10 times, sacked 5 times. As you said, some of it was on him. A lot of it was on the offensive line. But the thing that I was told by 2 people, he's still either locking into his primary. And here's another problem. Because we were hard on after the game, and it was true, it's factual, that the pass concepts were not great. But you know what? When they look good, when the concepts look right, you can always pull the trigger. There were some guys open in this game, which I didn't know because we were going off the TV copy and what we had heard after the game from people.
Right.
So that's the thing with Carson now. It's just, I don't know how you reach him. I know that coaches coach hard. I mean, they're coaching a lot. I understand that they're with him every day. They go over the film on Monday. But they got to reach him because the schedule's only going to get harder, though that Seahawks defense is a defense you could win against. But as you and I said, for a Monday morning show, you're not winning this game scoring 20 points.
I would agree. Nope. It's really hard to see this offense snap out of it in a finger snap, especially against some of these great teams, even if they're not great defensively. When you score a lot like Seattle does, then you have to keep up pace with them if they get ahead, so you become one-dimensional. I think it's really important for the Eagles to continue to rely on the run like they did against Cleveland. You know, they ran the ball fairly well.
Great in the first half.
Last 3 games.
Geoff, great in the first half.
Because they need to have more manageable third downs. One of their problems against Cleveland was they were behind the sticks on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and 3rd and 7. And what you'll notice on those, and this is just obvious, is that then Doug has to dial up plays that are more vertical because you need to be able to get the ball out, down the field for first down. When you do that, you need Carson to take a longer drop. And when you do that, you need the protection to hold up. And I shouldn't just blame Jason Peters. Matt Pryor was terrible as well.
Oh.
They did not play twists and stunts well at all. I mean, this goes back to last year. This team does not handle stunts and loopers very well. And I don't know if it's because they're different guys in and out, and it's hard to have continuity.
Yeah.
But But like that's got to be drilled every single day in practice because teams are killing them with this, killing them.
I know we've been so critical lately. I mean, I want to be fair about this.
Mm-hmm.
When you keep having guys leave the lineup, and as you said, I think you said Monday, and it's definitely true. They've had at least 9 different starting lineup units, starting 5 on the offensive line. Right. Kelsey leaves with his dislocated elbow, and he comes back. Peters leaves. Lane Johnson leaves. Pryor is bad. It's you feel so bad for Jeff Stoutland because he's such a good coach. I don't know how you handle this. I mean, it's tough, and then you do wonder about this because I remember this happened to Kevin Cobb on his descent. I'm not saying they're the same. Obviously Carson's issues are different, but when Kevin Cobb started struggling, he started looking down. His eyes would drop. And it was a Kansas City preseason game. I remember I talked to someone in the front office then. They said they had never seen him do that before. And he was never the same after that. He was worried about what was in front of him. Now, Wentz he's not dropping his eyes, but something's happened with him and not throwing with any anticipation. He's not seeing the field clearly. He's staring at his target. And then he's not going through his progressions always correctly like he should. There's just so many issues with him that we never saw before this season. I
agree with you. If you remember the play where it looked like an interception, it got reversed. It was in I think the third quarter. It was 3rd and 9. They were at Cleveland's 25. He threw it to Travis Fulgham, and there were a couple of defenders there. It just didn't look. It wasn't thrown with anticipation. He allowed the defense to catch up, but
he rarely throws anticipation anymore. It's very rare that he does.
When you watch that play on the All-22. You see that Greg Ward had kind of leaked out of the backfield, and there really wasn't anybody. And so did Miles Sanders. And we talk about this a lot, not wanting to take that shorter route. Both of those guys leaked out and actually had enough space where if you hit them quickly, then they might have been able to fight to get that first down. At least you give yourself you set up a field goal, you give yourself an opportunity. The last thing you want to do is turn the ball over there. And Carson nearly did that. I mean, the replay showed that the safety had bobbled the ball, but that was almost an interception.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I wonder.
Was that Sendejo? I can't remember who it was.
I thought it was Redwine. I don't really remember.
Oh, Redwine who got hurt. Yeah, Sheldrick Redwine. You're probably right, 29. Yeah. And then the other thing, as I was saying on our other show, a guy gave me 10 things that he saw on Eagles tape. The other thing is body language. He's not playing with the confidence. Wentz, when he's himself, has got so much swag and juice and confidence that he doesn't exhibit it anymore, man.
Yeah, he doesn't trust anything out there.
No, what the hell's happened here,
man? He's gotten hit a lot. I mean, that's part of it. I really do think that's part of it. But no, you got for example, the ball. It's kind of been debated. I mean, there are certain the one that he didn't throw to Rager on the wheel, right where he got hit. There was a lot of things that went wrong with that play that don't involve Carson. For example, the tight end who's in line to block there doesn't even
Rodgers.
Rodgers does not even see the blitzer to the point. I mean, he's on that side. So Carson should have been at least able to hit a second progression on that, and he had no opportunity to do that. That's not on him.
Right. And on the safety, man, you got to get rid of the football. You got to – I'm sorry. You can't – you got to get rid of the football. He knows better than that. Man, it is amazing, Geoff. You and I have covered this business a long time. When quarterbacks struggle, it's rarely one thing. But the issues that he's having right now, I just never saw this happening. And that's the thing that's so disappointing. I just don't know. Despite some really good matchups, Green Bay's defense is not playing well, okay? They're not. Cardinals is a very beatable defense. They give up a lot of yards. And Seattle now, they played very well, by the way, against Arizona. It was their best defensive game. They actually did a really good job. Carlos Dunlap's showing up. So it may not be the give me that we expect. And obviously the way the Eagles offense is going, nothing's a give me. They could play a high school team at this point.
Right.
You don't know what you're getting, but I don't know. So I don't know what else to say about Wentz. We've said it all. He's struggling mentally. Never thought I'd see that before. He's not processing well. There's one positive, but it's not quite the way you would think. Every single thing I'm told by multiple people who would know is all of it's correctable. All of it. But there's so much going on with him, and you mentioned some of it. It's when you're getting hit a lot, you're not the same guy. I think you look at everything, the multitude of hits, sack 5 times, hit 10 times, and not thrown with anticipation. Hold on to the ball too long. It's another thing, which he never did in 17 and 18. I was told he processed really well in 18, but the descent with him was really last year it started, and then as you know, he righted himself. But this season, man, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of the idea that everything is correctable, because I understand what you're saying. What that means is you can see
the confidence is on him,
right? And what's going on between the ears? Yeah, I don't. You're right. Like what you see on tape, you can see the mistake, so that makes it correctable. But you don't know how to get through to a guy between his ears if he just doesn't
that's the
trust what he sees. Right.
That's on the coaches now. That's where the head coach, who played, by the way, the National Football League, was the Eagles starter for 1 year, Doug Pederson, he's got to reach him. See, now, Doug said he's not giving a play calling. He's made that very, very clear, okay? He's not benching the quarterback. Now, we don't know this, and maybe we'll be able to find out over the next week or so. I would love to know if he's taking a more active role, okay, with his quarterback. Because, see, one thing I do want to mention, and I remember hearing from a very good Rams source that Sean McVay last year, for the first time in his career as a head coach of the Rams, during their install periods in the offseason in 2019, this is when Wade Phillips was the D coordinator. He clearly was not happy with the direction of the defense. So you know what he did? He spent a lot of time with the defense. During their OTAs, he wanted to see how they're being coached. And he wanted to learn more about their scheme. Sometimes you got to take a step back as a coach. You got to be more of a head coach than a coordinator. And to his credit, because McVay got criticized a lot for being a guy who'd have his play sheet and not pay attention to what was going on with the rest of his football team. Right. Sometimes you got to do that. To throw it back to Pederson here, you got to reach your quarterback. And if you're not willing to give up the play calling, what are you doing to help the guy in game?
Great question. And I think that's kind of the big, what is it called? The $100 million question or $100,000 question.
$100,000 pyramid.
Yeah, there you go. That's either going to be answered in a positive way or a negative way by the end of this year. We'll see if this offense comes around. Running backs are interesting. I thought Miles Sanders had a very good game.
He looked good.
He continues to press the hole very well. Right, other than the fumble. But that was killer. That was killer. And
I mean, you don't want to say like that was the
sloppy.
Yeah, you don't want to say that was the reason why they lost. I get it. The weather, what we predicted, unfortunately happened. Mr. Rain Man I am, but I told you it was not going to stop raining. And it didn't. I was hoping, it's funny with that weather.com app. Every once in a while, the weather will change in a game. It'll change, it'll get much better than the teams. Once the teams see that the rain goes away, they start throwing, but it never stopped. But Miles looks good. But the thing that's maddening to me, and I don't want to hear about, there was no win in this game. So what is it going to take for him to be used heavily in the pass game? Can you explain this?
So there were a couple of times that I felt that he was supposed to be used in the passing game. Same thing with Reagor. I thought there were a few motion plays where Reagor was supposed to get the ball, and the trigger man did not get him the ball. So I'm not sure that this is as much on Doug as I once thought, because I counted, I think, 3 times that I thought, and not just checking down for the sake of checking down, but because there was a lot of green between Sanders and either the marker or the end zone. I thought that there was some opportunity. Do you remember, I think it was week 4, they had this really nice design play. It was like a real quick hitter to Sanders. He lined up next to Carson Wentz. It looked like it might be a typical run or his own, and he just immediately ran, he angled his way into the flat, and Carson hit him right from the snap. And he went up the left sideline and got about 20 yards on it. And it looked like that was a designed play because Carson didn't even look anywhere else. He
right. Locked into him. Okay.
Threw it to him.
Yeah.
Maybe Doug has to kind of do that where it's that's the first read, but there were opportunities to get Miles the ball. But you are right in that's from out of the backfield. Why haven't you lined up this guy in the slot? Why haven't you?
Exactly.
You did it against Cincinnati. Carson missed him. Doesn't mean you don't ever do it again.
I don't know, man. I've been frustrated with this kid is so dynamic. They just they've not figured out a way. I'm very surprised with all these all these new coaches are supposed to be smart. Well, either the head coach is not listening to him, or there's something being lost in translation here. It's just not working. Right. He's too damn good, and he's such a weapon. I mean, Goddard was terrific in this game. we'll get to him in a second, but I think we're still on the misuse of Sanders. Now, Sanders looked damn good in the first half, right? Damn good. He had 11 carries in the first half, 5 in the second. The game was never out of hand, and everybody knows who watches the show. I'm not a big run game guy, but when your quarterback is struggling as badly as Wentz is struggling, and by the way, if you work it, you keep working that run game, it should help your play action. Now, I know you can look at analytics, and there's some stuff that says it's not true, but I can just tell you from a conceptual standpoint, if the Browns start stacking the box, play action, throw it. Look, the Browns took 2 shot plays, by the way. They beat them on a 42. The Eagles defense, for everyone saying how well they played Sunday, their backs got broken on a 42 and a 43-yarder. Two plays that people said they couldn't be made in the rain. Well, they sure as heck made them.
That's true. Then you're absolutely right. And I do agree that I'm not always a big gotta run guy, but I do think now, if you want to get yourself in some makeable third downs, you got to start giving the Miles Sanders. I don't think he's ever had 20 carries in a game, and we're now getting into his second. And now I get it; they weren't leading, I don't think, at any point in the game. And Doug likes to throw when he gets behind. But you mentioned it. You were perfect. We shouldn't abandon good reasoning. They were never behind by more than like a possession until really late in the game.
Yeah, they were done when it was a 2-possession game, when it was a 9-point spread.
Right.
I mean, it was 12-10. Elliott hits a field goal. It's 12-10.
Yeah.
They're in good shape here. I don't know, man. I hate to back that I hate to back the run game, because I just don't think it. I just think that that's not the way you win in the National Football League. But it's also a situation with your quarterback. You got to help him.
Yep.
And throwing it 35 times when your running back's doing this well, you don't have to run it like 5 times in a row, but you can't forget about Sanders. And that one bothered me a little bit, but he still looks really good, and they definitely have the right they definitely have the right guy. They just have to use him in a more effective way.
Yeah, I mean, for all the talk about and fair about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside not being a very good second-round pick, I mean, Miles Sanders was a good second-round pick.
Yes, and Boston Scott looked good. He flashed as a changeup on his 8 touches. He did a good job, and there are teams that really like Boston Scott. I had one guy tell me that they got to do a better job of using him, because he'll kill linebackers. If they scheme it right, he'll kill linebackers. But
right,
they just don't use him effectively.
Well, it's part of that. That's the story of the season so far. All right, tight ends. You said Dallas Goedert. One thing I'll say, Goddard had a good game, but I also thought the Browns had a good plan against him. It seemed like when he was flexed out, they got up on him at scrimmage. It almost seems like, again, well, it doesn't seem like, I'm sure this is what they did. They said, man, this guy Carson Wentz is really locked in on his first read. Dallas Goedert, we know, is often going to be his first read. We may not be able to cover him great, but we can at least get up on him at scrimmage and make Carson think that right from the snap he's not open. And I thought they did a pretty decent job of that at times.
Yeah, but I will say this. He commands the ball so much. He's not Travis Kelce, but he's big, and he can run. And he gets up. He's a vertical tight end. He's large. He's a terrific blocker. We know about the injury history, but this is the epitome of this kid. 32-yard catch. He had a touchdown. Open repeatedly, by the way. He didn't always get the football. I was told absolutely got open way more than he got the football. Only got 6 targets. For a guy that they couldn't cover, didn't get the ball enough.
Right.
They even if Ertz comes back this week, there's a realistic chance he comes back this week, but they're not going to know for sure until he gets through practice. They don't really start the practice week till Thursday. So we're not really going to know for sure, but Pederson and Press Taylor, when he comes back, it should be written on the board, chalkboard, get Goddard the football. He's too big. You can't cover him with a linebacker. I know. And I think when Ertz comes back, I just wonder if that's going to be a breakthrough in some way for Carson. Is that really? Oh, like Bill Polian said, remember?
Yeah, that he's so tight end dependent.
But you know what? The thing is, the thing that I've learned, Geoff, is that you want the defense to cover the entire field. Well, you got Reagor conceptually. You've got Reagor, who's incredibly explosive and dynamic. Put him in a position to be that way. They have not done a very good job of using Reagor. Let's call it like it is. Goddard, they've not used him effectively. I understand their line has been awful lately, but if you want to score points, you're going to have to get them in pass routes. You're going to have to line up them as an F tight end. Okay, that's in their offense, as I understand it. Okay?
Right.
You got to do that. Greg Ward, as you said it so well in that show. It's like we know Greg Ward is good at what he is. He's a possession slot receiver has no speed. He just gets open. He gets open repeatedly. I get that. But you're not going to win because of Greg Ward. You're going to win with him, but you're not. He's not a difference maker.
Exactly.
Gets the ball in the hands of difference makers, and they don't do that. These coaches don't do that repeatedly.
Oh, and by the way, there was a 3rd and 9 in the third quarter, and Rager was not on the field. Alshon Jeffrey was, and I'm like, I can't believe it. This one I put on Doug. When I did the hierarchy of quarterback design or protection. How you have 3rd and 9 where you have to stretch the field, and you don't have your fastest wide receiver on the field? How is that possible? How is that possible?
It's a good point. I didn't notice that. That's I'm just going to take it conceptually, like you said that. He better be on the field now. Here's another thing that someone pointed out to me, and I hadn't even thought about this, although I know we mentioned it in our Monday show, but now I have a little bit better context. Someone who graded the tape for me did notice the Eagles receivers were struggling with the field, okay? Well, the Browns receivers were not, okay? They got open. They got open downfield, which in that weather I was very surprised with. This can't happen. Like these guys, it's ridiculous. They I don't know who to blame on this one. I hate finger pointing, but I mean, how does this happen? That it's not like they didn't know the weather forecast was going to rain. Come on, these. And then they showed. You could see on the TV copy. You saw Fulgham again. I forget who was covering him. So maybe it was in the fourth quarter where he kind of slipped a little bit. I mean, they're human beings. It might happen, but you got to wear the right studs on your cleats. It's a minor point, but one that should never happen.
Yeah, no, I would love to see Doug actually steal a concept there from the Browns and come out against the Seahawks. One thing I don't think we've seen all year is any legit 13 personnel. Come out, put 2 tight ends in line, throw an extra tackle out there if you want, or an offensive lineman, or if Zach Ertz is back, put all 3 tight ends out there, put Carson under center, run play action with your 1 wide receiver out there. If you come out in 13 that the Seattle is going to be in its base. And try to spring a guy deep down the sideline when you catch them off guard. That's how the Browns did it. For some reason, I have no idea why, but on that second catch that Hodge made for 42 yards, that came against Jalen Mills, and he was the outside corner. Now, I don't know what design the Eagles' defense were in, but I do know that the Browns had about 9 guys up front on the offensive line, so they did a good job.
Oh, and it's funny you say that because I remember an offense coordinator telling me. Because he corrected me on something, and I learned a lot from it. He goes, listen, he's like, dude, we could throw out of any formation. We could literally line up. He's like, we could line up with 8 offensive linemen and still throw the football. It's just the way you design it. And I think sometimes we get caught up, oh, you can't win in that formation. You just explained it. Right. They were in a formation they knew they could win on. They got the look they could win on. And it's not like this is a very good passing team. It's a really below average passing team. They're about to run. They don't try to throw the ball very much.
Right.
The run concepts are terrific. I give Schwartz credit. They had them stone cold stop. They're pro. I give the Eagles pro personnel people. Whoever turned in their scouting report, their pro guys doing events. Did they do a good job of conceptually understanding what the Browns are trying to do with their wide zone. They did a good job.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Just one thing on offense before we move on here.
Well, yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say before. That when there's bad weather, call plays that you complete. Little pop passes, the old Chip Kelly pop passes, whatever it takes. Get out of Wentz's hands, get it to the receivers shallow because you feel like maybe it's you don't want them. There's certain routes you don't want them running because of the weather or the field, whatever. But you got to adjust as coaches.
Right.
So now, as I said earlier, there were some plays that looked good. I was told Wentz didn't get him the football. Okay, I get it. But there were plenty of plays where the concepts that we told you about on our other show clearly are not good enough. Greg Cosell calls them isolation routes. I call them individual routes. I've heard this consistently from advanced people from other teams. The Eagles coaches ask the receivers to win too much. Scheme them to get the blank open is really what should happen. They don't do it enough. That's the one valid criticism that almost every team says to me. It's not every play I'm talking about, but there are too many plays in each game where you go, you need to help the guy's not winning, help him get open. Okay? You got and this we said this last year.
Yep. Amen to that. Amen to that. I have a random thought on offense real quick before we get to defense. But first I do want to remind people that the holidays are here. So please, please, please go get your free shipping and 20% off using that promo code ITB at Manscaped. They have so many great things for male grooming and for ear hair and nose hair that you can get yourself for the holidays, or you can get a friend. I would hop on that deal right now. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com.
I need that, man. I need
promo
that,
code ITB. Use the promo code ITB, Adam. You'll get it.
I will.
I just had this random thought, and it's just funny to me. You're going to hear a lot about DK Metcalf this week and how Arcega-Whiteside was picked over him. You're hearing a lot lately about Justin Jefferson being picked over Jalen Reagor. I find it really interesting that the best wide receiver in football right now this year is Davante Adams. And the Eagles picked Jordan Matthews over about 13 spots ahead of Adams in the 2014 draft, and nobody ever says anything about it. I don't know. Do you think it's because
it's funny? Yeah,
Matthews is out of sight, out of mind?
I didn't even know that. Yeah, is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, of all the, that's right up. That's like, you got Jason Witten. LJ Smith over Jason Witten. Nobody ever brings that up. I guess it's because Matthews had 2 years. But
it's funny because Adams, you're not very fast,
right?
But all he does is win, and he's such a great football player. I don't know that he'll be a Hall of Famer. He might be a step below that, but the guy is a baller, man. He is a baller. He's such a great football player.
He is.
And the Eagles play him again.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
And by the way, last year in that game, the Eagles won. Remember, he looked like he was going to go for 250 yards. He suffered a turf toe injury in that game, which lingered the entire season.
Yeah.
But they do have Slay right now, so we'll see. But, here's the thing, and we'll move on to defense in 20 seconds here. The coaches have it in front of them. There's not a defense that are going against them. The Saints are playing really great defense right now. Seahawks are on a good defense. The Cardinals are not a good defense. Okay. Packers are certainly not a good defense. The opportunity is there to seize this thing. You don't have to be great, but you got to be better. And it starts with the head coach and taking responsibility, not pointing fingers. I'm not saying he's doing this behind closed doors, but he sure as hell is making excuses publicly. And it's the first time he's done this since he's been here. He didn't do it in 2016 when they had a losing record. Come on.
No, you're right. It is. There's been a lot of new things this year that we haven't seen, and that would be one of them. All right, we move into the defense. Let's start with the defensive line. Really, really good performance from pretty much everyone. At least in my vantage point, I thought Josh Sweat really stood out, setting the edge.
He's
Malik.
He's amazing. The thing that, and I knew this. It's funny. He got in his rookie season in 2018. I remember someone telling me that. Did you know he's playing in base for us? I'm like, you mean in practice? He goes, no, you probably didn't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember whether it was in preseason or I don't remember. Was he hurt before the season started? I can't remember now. That's just 2 years ago, but whatever.
Remember, yeah.
They started using him in base because they were very happy because, he's long. He's got 34.5-inch arms, but he's really a good run defender in addition to being a good pass rusher. So this kid, and they play him 33.5 snaps per game is his average per season.
Mm-hmm.
This is a home run, this kid. Hopefully he'll continue to stay healthy. Remember we were saying last year, you got to be careful how much you play him. It's kind of like they have a buzzer. Okay, he's played 34 snaps, get him out of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they know this, and man, he is a player. He's a junior Case Clowney. He's just long. He's twitchy. He's strong as hell. You can play him inside a nickel if you want. He as a force defender in this game, he's tremendous, just really good. What a home run this kid is.
Yeah, I think they have a really good opportunity this offseason because this will be his third year behind him to sign him to kind of a team-friendly part-time type player deal. I mean, he's kind of like Juquay Parker, not built like Juquay Parker, but Juquay Parker was a guy at 1 year, Juquay Thomas. Yeah, and then he wound up having to start a lot of games because of injuries, but he was a really good off-the-bench pass rusher who was both good against the run and rushing the passer. And there were plenty of times where he would make
wait, was he the guy who was offsides on that one play?
No, against the Bills. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Jaquay. Not that you're listening. But funny story about him. So he gets claimed off waivers, I think, from maybe the Titans. Does that sound right?
Yes.
It was at training camp.
Titans.
And I won't out the PR guy who we were talking. I said to the PR guy, I said, "Hey, is it Jukwa? Jukwa? How do you say it?" And they go, "Hey, we're not even sure. Don't worry, he probably won't be here long." Yeah, I just remember there's certain things.
But he was a camp body. He was right. Like
exactly.
Nobody knew.
You don't know. You come off waivers. Who the hell knows? Yeah, the Titans cut him then. But it's just funny how that stuff works out. Anyway.
Cool guy, by the way. Also, I like Jukwa. He was a
good player. That was a really good. That was a very good waiver claim for them. That was a heck of a waiver claim. Yeah, I don't know who saw that one. That was a good one.
Right. So no. So I do think they have an opportunity because he's never going to be a starter. To sign him up, lock him up for a few years at decent money.
Well, it's funny you say that. If he didn't have this condition, he would be a starter. But they can't. They gotta. He's just perfect for that role. And this is, I give them credit because. There's an AFC West team that told me they took him off their board because of his the knee with that nerve issue. He came real close, to never playing football again in high school. But it's a tribute to him, and you got to give the Eagles credit for sticking out with him. It's been a good one.
Absolutely. All right. I thought Malik Jackson really played well.
He's had a good year, by the way.
Yeah, he really has. He has, and he plays physical. He's tougher. I always thought of him as an interior pass rusher, right? I've really been impressed with him against the run and just his overall. And every once in a while, he kind of takes a shot at a guy like at a quarterback, but he's aggressive. I enjoy the way he plays.
Yeah, he's explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Barnett flashed in this game. He's had a solid season. He's not great every game, but he's had a solid season. He's starting to round into form. Remember, people are getting on Hargrave. Folks, the guy missed 6 weeks. I mean, he had a pectoral strain, which you reported. That's a tough deal, man, to get your strength back.
Right.
I think sometimes we need to realize if you're going to criticize a player, at least get all the facts straight.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a completely different scheme that he was playing in Pittsburgh. Now, if you want to criticize the amount of money they're paying per year, okay, that's fair. But I mean, it's like this is in fantasy football. Like, not every player is going to do well for you immediately.
Right.
It's like I think sometimes you figured by midseason he'd start getting there. He's improving. Is he as good as the contract would state? No, but you know what? He was hurt, and it's a new scheme.
All right, Adam, I have to pause real quick. I'll be right back, okay? All right, let's talk about our friends, Adam, from DraftKings, as we always do. It's the season for giving, and to celebrate the start of the most joyous time of the year, DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all players the opportunity to cash in on a no-brainer this Thanksgiving. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to double your money if either Baltimore or Pittsburgh scores a touchdown in Thursday night's game. All it takes for you to double your money is one touchdown. That's got to be easy. One touchdown? One touchdown.
You're giving away money. Wow.
All right. I mean, I know Baltimore is a little hurting here with COVID, but I mean, you think someone's going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, all you got to do is opt into the promotion and place your bet and then sit back and watch the ball enter the end zone. Easy as pie. On top of that great offer, DraftKings Sportsbook is offering all new players a deposit bonus up to $1,000. The holiday season is a time for families, so curl up on your couch with your favorite sportsbook and make it rain. DraftKings is a safe, reliable, and secure app, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code ITB when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you the chance to double your money if either Pittsburgh or Baltimore score a touchdown in Thursday night's game. That's right. All it takes is one touchdown, and you double your money when you use promo code ITB during sign-up for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Let's finish off the defense, Adam. We'll go to linebackers. I'm curious because, I mean, man, I thought Alex Singleton, but I thought they all played well. But is there anything that any detail that I'd be missing?
Yeah, I mean, no. Singleton, number one, played every snap. This is his best game as an Eagle by far. Here's the thing: when the linebackers, as we know, Geoff, are not really big, so they got to win with intelligence, and they just have to read their keys well and go by what they were taught, because there's certain rules that you have when you go against the wide zone. And for the most part, these guys, I mean, not every play was perfect, but Singleton is just a great find for them. And He's doing a good job. I mean, I was told like this is by far his best game. One of the pro guys that I talked to from another team who's they're playing. I don't remember what it's first or second week of December, but guy's very complimentary. He goes, listen, I'm not very familiar with the guy, but the guy played his ass off. He said, but because they have to watch every game that the Eagles play, so they said this is by far his best game. And that's a good sign. That's the thing with, and you got to give Flagel credit. And, he, as much as we criticize him, he's gotten the guy ready, and the guy he's risen to the occasion. Done a good job.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's no way that Nate Gary can come back and reclaim playing time. I mean, it's got to be Singleton.
Well, Singleton can't go to the bench. Okay, that's what I'm saying. What I meant, just to clarify, Singleton cannot go to the bench. Period.
Right. Yeah. Yes. You're right. I meant reclaim his original role is what I meant. Not playing time.
Well, the question now the question is, because Singleton now is a player here, and T.J. Edwards is he's a good run defender. Now nickel, if you want to take Edwards off the field and just have
they did that, right? Because Riley is actually their nickel with
right. I understand Riley's a better athlete, but then if you just want to go Singleton and Riley, or Singleton and Gary, or in dime single linebacker, you can't go with Gary. I don't care how smart he is. He's a liability, because it's not just analytics showing you, okay, here are the numbers. It's what the tape shows you, which is way more important.
Right.
I'm not going to repeat some of the things that some guys from other teams said about this player. The guy shouldn't be on the field. He's a backup player with an overall group that's less than average, though Singleton's now playing above average. He shouldn't be on the field as much. Someone's got to step in here. Really. Come on.
Speaking of stepping in, I don't know if you noticed, but third-round pick, rookie, Davion Taylor was in there for over a dozen snaps. A lot of people did not notice that.
So what do you know about this situation? This is surprising to me.
So he was in because they were playing a lot of 4 linebacker formations, which is the Browns would come out with 3 tight ends sometimes, or 2 fullbacks, or 2 tight ends and a fullback, or 3 tight ends and a fullback. So obviously they had practiced this. They were going to do this throughout the week. I've been told that Davion was improving to the point where when they did go with 4 linebackers, they got him on the field as opposed to Sean Bradley, because when they did it in the past, it would be Sean Bradley. But you did immediately see some of the weaknesses. Austin Hooper caught a 21-yard pass along the left sideline, I think on their second possession, right after the Carson Wentz interception. And you saw that Taylor was kind of behind on that. He got suckered in by the play action. He didn't take enough depth in the drop there to get there in time. And then the big play that almost really, really hurt them was, I think it was Hooper again, where Mayfield
wide open
play action, just threw it over. I can't believe Mayfield missed that throw, by the way. Maybe it was too easy. I don't know, but either way, that's Taylor's man, and he just completely bit on the run. And if you watch it, like, you can say, okay, well, they're up at the goal line, they're big and heavy. Of course, everybody's going to think run. That's fine, but as soon as your tight end releases as fast as he does into the end zone, it's got to trigger in your mind that guy's releasing for a reason. He's not in there run blocking for a reason. And by the time Davion kind of figured out that Hooper was running a route for a reason, even with his speed, he couldn't recover and get there. But they're lucky that the ball was not caught.
Yeah, a couple things before we close out. So I'm a little bit surprised that Parks, because I know they played big nickel in this game. They played quad. I can't remember. It's quad line. There's a term that when you play 4 linebackers in a 43 front, it's either quads or I can't remember now. But as you said, from a tape study standpoint, they played three safeties. They did some with 4 linebackers because the Browns are challenged at receiver. They're just not very good there without OBJ. I mean, I give them credit. The play design by Stefanski is fantastic to get the receivers open. They got what they thought they'd get, and they got it, and they hit Cardell or Hodge, for the bomb, and the other kid for a deep pass. But overall, the defense hangs in there. They have Eagles obviously have one of the best front fours in the NFL, really good rotation. So, but when you play so much man coverage, I do think there's a fallacy saying you can't get turnovers. Now, you could press, because when you press, you make the quarterback hold on the ball longer. Eagles don't press enough, and that's why they're not going to get turnovers, because it's hard when your back's to the football and you're not pressing. Well, yeah, and man, you're not going to get turnovers. So you put a premium on your front four to get strip sacks and stuff like that. if you want to get turnovers. Look, Eagles are not a turnover defense. They're a pressure defense. They get sacks. They'll get you to punt maybe more when they're really working well, but they're just not going to be a great turnover defense. It's just the way it is.
No, I think even when they were good at creating turnovers in 2017, I think Patrick Robinson led them in interceptions with 4. It wasn't something like sometimes you'll see guys have 6, 7, or 8 or 9 picks in a year and have an amazing year, but no, Patrick Robinson had 4, and I think Rasul Douglas had 3 that year. So it was like you say, they get more of the strip sack, the fumble, things like that than they do.
It is what it is. Look, as we said like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was really bad for the defense. I said, listen, someone with the Eagles reminded me, wait till you see us in the last month of the season, or November and then December. The numbers are all going to be top 10 in a lot of important categories. He always does it, Jim Schwartz. As much as you hate the wide 9 and people don't use it, other than by the way, the Browns use some of it. Most teams don't use it because they don't think it's a very sound scheme. But you know what? It worked for Jim Schwartz. The numbers will be there in a lot of important categories. You could criticize it all you want, but he now has a number 1 corner in Darius Slay, and the defense is improving. So yeah, it is what it is. It's not my favorite scheme, but the guy's a good football coach, and he gets criticized by people with other teams. Okay, it's all legit because they're only going by what they see. They don't know the guy,
right?
But in the end, the numbers improve.
I'll tell you this: after Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans, and Arizona,
we'll see,
if he actually has a top 10 defense this year, I'll be very surprised.
Hey, you know what? Touche. You got me. And I'm not protecting Schwartz at all. I'm just telling you.
I know you're right.
The numbers haven't improved, but they play the Seahawks. Good. They're 0-5 versus Russell Wilson. Okay, you can play this. The Seahawks could play with 9 offensive players. They're not stopping Russell Wilson. You know, they just and now their linebackers are playing better. There's no question, but it's just I don't see it. We'll look. I would love to be surprised. I'd like to see a competitive game. Shock the world. Go ahead. Good. Knock yourself out. We'll see what happens.
How did they lose by the same exact score both times last year?
Oh, last year was ridiculous. What was it like?
And it wasn't even a normal score.
What was it like 21-11 or some shit?
I thought it was like 19-13 or 19-11 or something.
It was 11, I think.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that was just like, does that ever happen in NFL history?
I don't know.
They got to play. Crazy. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers last year, their offense was so conservative. Matt LaFleur's got it going on. His defense is playing very well, but their offense has been incredible. MVS and Adams and now Bobby Tonyan, the tight end, and the other kid, Lazard, came back from his muscle core surgery here by Dr. Myers in Philly. They're unbelievable right now. Although they're not getting Aaron Jones involved enough in the pass game, but they're great on offense. Now, I would love to see Taysom Hill. Can you imagine Taysom Hill? That's the first game by week 14 that Drew Brees could technically return from his injury. But I would love to see what Schwartz would do against Taysom Hill. That would be fun, but we'll see.
Now, given how the Eagles have performed this year against running quarterbacks and the zone read especially, and they'll have to watch out. Imagine if you had to face Russ, then Aaron, then Taysom, then Kyler Murray, all 4 in a row. Oh, man, that is.
And by the way, look, the Browns did nothing. They rolled them out for what do you have, a 7-yard run? Mayfield won. They didn't really do anything. That's not.
No, I was surprised about that. By the way, Adam, they didn't do a lot of that, and they didn't do a lot of misdirection. They did a little bit of orbit. But just not as much as you thought that they would do. Maybe the conditions had something to do with. I don't know.
I did not ask them after the game why they didn't do it, but they were very complimentary of 2 things to the Eagles. Offensively, they said, now this surprised me because I did hear this before the game, but never like the afterward. They thought they were very complimentary about the Eagles' run game concepts. Very impressed by the way that they designed the run game. It's a credit to their coaches. Now, obviously, the pass game concepts are another issue. And they thought that the Eagles' defensive scheme for that week was very good. You talked about the 4 linebackers, sometimes big nickel. And they thought they executed the bleep out of their run defense. They had them. It's the only team that they played this season that really had them, but then the dam broke on the big run by Chubb, which, look, if you keep running it, you're probably going to break one sometime, but you got to give Schwartz credit and their coaches and the Eagles' advanced people. Whatever whatever information they gave them was absolutely correct. That's a good job by them. And but again, Chubb still got them in the end, and that one hurt.
Well, and here's another thing, and I'm not taking credit away. I agree with you, but they sold out to stop the run. I mean, whether it's 4 linebackers or 7 men in the box.
But here's
wait. Hold on, because I'm not finished. I'm not discrediting that, but when you sell out against the run, if you want to talk about those 4 or 5 plays that the Browns hit in the air that were kind of backbreaking, whether it was the 2 by Hodges, the 1 by Landry had one, that's because they were selling out against the run and had to leave those guys on. I mean, the one down the sideline to Hodges was all because of play action. It was all because they had so many in the run.
Maddox had a bad play.
And Maddox too, right.
Mills, we didn't talk about Jalen Mills much. He had some plays he'd like to have back. He's not a run game defender. I mean, he's just I know they call him positionless players back there, especially with Mills, because he's sort of a hybrid, but it's not working some weeks with him. He's got to be better. But just what I want to say is that from a scheme-wise, they did a good job. Like, you have to give it up to Schwartz. We've taken our shots, and it's all been really correct because it's based on our sources tape study, but they had it. They were the only team really to get – they shut down Hunt completely. God, he had less than a yard per carry. They made him – but like you said, when you do sell out in the run, you're going to get one-on-one coverage, and you got to be able to cover. And those backbreakers, the 42 to Hodge and the 43 to Rashard Higgins,
right?
It's funny. They're backup receivers, right? They shouldn't be to, but they did.
Yeah, I don't get Jalen Mills, by the way, because he made the tackle on Kareem Hunt on 4th down. I mean, he came in third down. It was the 3rd down one before the 4th down stop. He came in and made a great ankle tackle, one-on-one tackle on Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
But every other time he has to play contact, he doesn't.
He's not what they call the term is he's not a nosy player against the run. He's just not.
Right.
That's really not his game. He just makes it. He makes his game is being smart and savvy, and using angles and correct technique because he's just not a good athlete.
Right.
But he's smart, and that's why Schwartz and their D-back coaches love him. But, he is what he is at this point. But that's it. Look, the thing is, we've been critical because it's truthful. It's based on the people we've spoken with. This is yet another winnable game. I mean, they could have won this game.
Oh, certainly. It was absolutely.
12-10 early in the 4th quarter. Come on.
It's going to be a long time before we say the Eagles have a winnable game coming up. So, I mean, they're just not going to be favorite.
True words have never been more spoken on the show.
There you go. And we'll be back on Friday morning to break down that Eagles Seahawks game on Monday night. So it'll be exciting to break that one down.
Right.
Yep. Can't wait. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out him on YouTube. His channel is called Sports Talk with Broads. Check him out on Twitter, @Broads81 on Twitter. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the bird.